What's up, you guys? This is Spillin' Tea with Chris G, and tonight we're going over Real Housewives of New Jersey, their second episode. I'm going to be going over my top five highlights of the night and some piping hot tea at the end. So stay tuned and let's go ahead and get this party started. So for my first highlight of the evening goes to Teresa's release. Teresa was released December 23rd, 2015, and the other housewives were reacting to it while watching her attorney do a press conference about Teresa getting out of prison. Jacqueline really kind of was like in a space where she still doesn't know about their friendship. She was kind of emotional watching with Delores. Because she has feelings for Teresa. She loves Teresa. I mean, they've been friends for years, but she's still not sure about where they stand. That was Jacqueline's reaction. And then Joe Gorga and Melissa Gorga. Joe is Teresa's brother. You know, they were kind of reacting to it too because they were happy, but Melissa still kind of has feelings about the way everything went down prior to, and the fact that Teresa didn't have Melissa on the visitors guest list. So we'll see what happens within the next upcoming episode. And speaking of Melissa, my second highlight goes to her. She is still working on her store, Envy by MG. She is still trying to get it together. The construction looks like it fell behind. Joe Gorga had pulled up with the kids to her store location where her and her staff were at. And Joe Gorga, basically said it would probably be about 2 weeks before the store could get opened. Now, Melissa was like, well, I'm trying to get the store ready a little sooner. And Melissa was kind of concerned about it, and Joe was like, well, I have the kids and I didn't sign up for a part-time wife. But Melissa's like, I'm going to have staff, it's going to be great, nothing's going to really change a lot, I'm still going to have time. But Joe, he still kind of has his reservations. So but I think Melissa will be able to juggle it. She's juggled everything else, including her singing career that she had as well. So I think everything will be fine. For my third highlight, again, Melissa and Joe. It's a lot of Melissa in this episode, so bear with me, you guys. But Melissa had thrown a Christmas party, and Joe's parents were there. As well as Teresa, she was able to come to the Christmas party. She was granted permission, but she had to be back by 11:30. So Teresa, Joe, the kids, they were all there as well. Everyone was there and they were having a good time. And Melissa had got up to go get some water to bring it back to the table, and Teresa went with her. They kind of had a little, not like a huge argument, but they kind of were arguing about what happened to their friendship and where did it start to snowball. And it started, Teresa had stated, it started from the christening. Melissa's youngest son, who is now in kindergarten, it started from there and it kind of snowballed. There were a lot of people that were talking about them and behind their backs. Teresa was hanging with people that were giving Melissa like cheating allegations. It looks like they've come to an agreement where they both were wrong in both situations, and now they're going to try to go ahead and stick together like they should be as sister-in-laws. So hopefully everything works out with them too, but they agreed to disagree, but it looks like they made up in the end. So our fourth highlight goes to Delores. Delores was in a therapy session. She's trying to figure out how to take care of herself instead of taking care of everyone else. And that's what she basically was explaining to the therapist. Delores was in a relationship for 5 years and had a fiance, but then she moved out, left him, and moved back into her own house. And she was also explaining her marriage prior to her fiance when in her earlier years. And she was also explaining that she was in law enforcement for 6 years. So for my fifth highlight of the night, it goes to the New Year's Eve parties. Both Teresa and Jacqueline had parties that night. Jacqueline had invited Rosie, Kathy, and Richie. Now, Rosie and Kathy are Teresa's cousins. Teresa had invited her 36 closest family and friends to her party. And Delores also showed up to both parties, Teresa and Jacqueline's. But Delores showed up to Teresa's first. Gia wanted to kind of leave the party early to kind of go off and do her own thing. And her and Joe kind of got into a little headbutting situation. And Joe was like telling Teresa, you need to go tell her that she can't go to her party. Then he changed it and said, well, she needs to be back by 12. So, of course, Gia did come back to the party by 12 o'clock. So that was good. But Teresa did go ahead and call Jacqueline in front of Delores because Teresa wanted to reach out to her to, so that way they can try to rekindle their friendship. I think Teresa was kind of taken back though because Jacqueline had her on speakerphone and I don't think she was expecting for Kathy, Rosie, and Richie to be at Jacqueline's house. So they, said hi to Teresa. And the first thing Teresa says instead of hello, she goes, do you always keep your phone on speaker? So let me go ahead and spill some tea for you guys real quick. So this week, Melissa and Teresa were on Good Morning America. Of course, promoting the Real Housewives of New Jersey season, but also they were talking about their newfound relationship and how they're getting back to the way things used to be. Teresa also reflected upon how she has grown personally since she was in prison and her newfound love for yoga, and that's how she keeps that hot body so fit. And also this weekend, Melissa was out with her family on the boat. They were jet skiing, having a good time in the water. But did you guys see Melissa's body? It is slamming. But anyways, that is it for me tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back with more reviews of Love and Hip Hop, and I'll also be doing Basketball Wives. So stay tuned. Have a good night and make sure you guys subscribe. Spilling Tea with Chris G.